Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today's video, I'm actually referencing a video I made a few weeks back, and that video being how to clone yourself in Premiere Pro. And I figured that some of you who had watched that video might actually want to know how to do the same thing but with your photos. Today's video is going to be how to clone yourself in Photoshop and in basically just how to make multiple of yourself in one photo. But without further ado, let's get started. So you're probably thinking, first things first, I'm gonna open Photoshop on my computer. I just bought it. Awesome. Wrong. First things first, as you might have guessed, you actually need to take the photos. Just like the clone effect in the last video, you need to frame yourself so you first off don't overlap, but you do have slightly more forgiveness if you do in Photoshop. It's way easier to mask that. And you need to make sure that you take enough photos with the same lighting so it's very, very easy to match it. It also helps if you change your outfit or you just like look like you're interacting with yourself. So acting as if you're an individual character in the world and you're all hanging out together. That'll help sell the deal a little bit more. But the biggest thing is to make sure that you take enough of yourself so you have multiple characters and you don't overlap yourself. Now that you've done that, now that you've seen what I'm talking about, let's actually dive in and bring that into Photoshop and get started on the actual editing process. Okay, so now that we actually have our photos, they're taken, they're done, whatever, we're ready to actually bring it in Photoshop. So let's go ahead and do that. What we can go ahead and do now is click open instead of new file, because new file, we would have to set parameters like the image size or the canvas size, DPI and so forth. But because we're gonna base everything off the same exact photo, aspect ratio, quality, everything like that, we're gonna go ahead and press open. So open, find out wherever you saved your photos. In my case, I made a folder called photos, and that has all the photos that I just took and edited in Lightroom. So go ahead and click the first photo in the sequence. As you can see, Trent Clone Pics 1 is what I named it. That's the first one. So let's go ahead and click that. And bam, here we go. Look at me all goofy standing over here by this tree. Now, what we're gonna go ahead and do is actually go back to File. So back to File, go down to Place Embedded, click on one, place, make sure that looks okay, press the check mark if it is, and do that for every photo. You could obviously click and drag them all in, but this is just a way to make sure that the framing is exactly the other photo's framing. But all right, so now that we have all 6 layers or all 6 photos that I took, as you can see down here in the layers panel, in Photoshop, we're actually ready to turn off all the layers except the first one. So go ahead, click all these off. You can click the little eyeball. Perfect, there we go. And now we're back to what we looked like we just started with a minute ago, except we have 6 more layers or 5 more layers that are turned off. Let's go ahead and turn on the one right above the bottom layer. Click the actual layer, make sure it's highlighted like that. And I'm going to go ahead and go over here to our lasso tool right here, or alternatively, you can press L on the keyboard. And I'm going to just lasso myself out here, keeping it very close to my body so I don't affect much of the image, and let go. Now you can see the little marching ants or the little dotted line surrounding me as a character in this scene. So what that'll do is tell Photoshop, hey, the only thing I want to be left in the frame is what's inside this selection. So go down here, once again, if your layer is not selected, make sure it is, and then go ahead and press the layer mask button. As you can see, me, number 2, and me, number 1, are now in the same frame. There is slight issues with this, and I'll zoom in to show you, and you might realize this already, but if you zoom in, holding Alt and scrolling up or down on your keyboard, not your keyboard, your mouse, you can see that the lighting is, slightly different because this me created a slight shadow that might not be visible to your naked eye, but when you compare them, you probably will see it. So what we can go ahead and do is press B, open our brush tool back up. Make sure that your brush is as soft as it can go, so turn your hardness all the way down, and maybe we'll increase the brush size to, I don't know, a little bit more. That looks good. So now I'm gonna paint this back in, and basically just smooth out that line, that cut that I had, and kind of paint back in some of the white. Things feel a little bit more consistent, a little bit more real, but you still have me down here unaffected. The border of my image won't really affect me as a character. And there we go. That's a whole lot better of a mix. Now we can even, do this a little bit more where we increase the brush size, press X to switch from black to white. So now we're on black, as you can tell. And I might add or subtract some more of this back in to fix the lighting and make it look a little bit more consistent. And I think that's good. So what we alternatively do is do that for every other photo. We'll do one more and then we'll skip to the end. So turn on layer 3 now. And now we know, okay, there's Trent outside. Let's do one that's a little bit better. Maybe layer 5, sure. So now we have layer 5 and we know we can do the same thing. We can start the same way. So go to lasso tool. I'm gonna select a bigger selection around me. So once again, go ahead, after you have your selection, make sure the layer is selected, and press the layer mask tool panel. Now, bam, there's 3 of me here, but you can obviously tell the lighting here is a much different situation than the last one. And that's a good thing because this will teach us how to fix or correct those issues. So once again, press B to get your brush tool back out. See what color you're on. If you're on black like I am, that's fine for me right now. I'm gonna start with that. You can always add back whatever you take away. That's the benefit of working in a non-destructive layer mask. Let's erase some of these lines here, except, oh no, we'll come back to that in a second. So let's cut away some of this. And overall, it's pretty good, except for the giant missing elbow of mine on the ground here. And now this is what I mean by organize yourself in your frame so where you don't overlap, so you don't have to do this. But in case you did this, I'm glad this happened because now I can show you what to do in case you end up in this type of situation. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually press on the bracket key to shrink down my brush tool. Alternatively, you can go up here and just slide it, but it's a little faster that way. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, holding Alt and zooming, and just kind of trace out the edge of my arm to get started, just so I know where it's actually at, because it's kind of hard to know if you can't see it. Perfect. Now, oh, my foot's missing, but it's starting to look a little better. And we can keep working on this, right? So let's press X and erase some of this layer. Do it over here with the baseboard. Oh no, I cut into my hand. Press X, switch back, keep going, right? We'll keep slowly etching this out. You can do this a lot of different ways. This is just the way that I'm showing you because it's very, very simple and easy. It just takes a little bit more time. The better you get at Photoshop, the faster you'll want to do things, but they are more complex and take a little bit more knowledge. So we're starting simple. In the future videos, if you're like, oh, use the pen tool, you should have used the pen tool and just trace yourself. Sure, I know I could have, but we're not doing it that way. We're doing it this way for a reason. Look, oh, perfect, beautiful. Now let's paint this line out. Bam. Beautiful. There's 3 of me. There's actually 6 photos in this sequence, like one right here and a few others. I'm going to go ahead and add those in, but you get the gist of it. You get the point. So let's go ahead. We're going to, together, you're going to finish yours. I'm going to finish mine. We're going to edit our photo in Photoshop and then export it as a single image, and you'll see it when I'm done with this part. So let's cut right to that. Okay, so I went ahead, I finished it, as you can see. Now I did 2 things. One, I cropped it from 4:3 to 16:9 so I could use it both as a thumbnail and put it in this video, you know, and make it look okay. But other than that, all I did was the same thing we talked about. In here, as you can see in this group, every photo layer is masked. As you can see, if you double click on the layer mask, you can see what was layered out. That might have been an issue, but oh well. But nonetheless, I'm not saying this is the best method. I'm not saying I'm an expert at doing this type of thing, but it is, you know, it's a little quirky, it's fun, it's a, you know, a nice Instagram post or whatever. But nonetheless, it really is that simple. Go ahead, take your photos, you know, take them, make sure you don't overlap yourself. If you do, that's okay, just do what I taught you. And then from there, bring it in Photoshop, layer mask each one, select your person or your character as, you know, its own individual section of the layer. Other than that, that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, and if you learned something, be sure to both hit subscribe, like the video, and share it with a friend. And as always, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know in the comments what you want to see on that one too. All right, see you guys later. Goodbye.